reflection in the window. Samantha had just moved into an old, creaky house on the outskirts of town. It was the perfect place to escape her hectic life, with its tall trees, overgrown garden, and the sound of crickets at night. The house itself was charming in a worn-down, vintage way, but it had an odd feeling to it, something that sent shivers down her spine every time she walked through the hallways. One evening, after a long day of unpacking, Samantha decided to sit in the living room and relax. The sun had just set, and the room was bathed in a soft orange glow from the last rays of light. She stared out the large window, taking in the peaceful view of the garden. The wind rustled the leaves, and everything seemed calm. But then she noticed something strange in the reflection of the window. At first, it was just a flicker, something out of the corner of her eye. She blinked, assuming it was just the shadows playing tricks on her. But when she looked back, she saw it clearly, a dark figure standing just behind her in the reflection, motionless. Her heart skipped a beat. Samantha spun around, but the room was empty. She felt her breath quicken as she turned back to the window, her pulse racing. The figure was still there, standing just inches behind her in the reflection, its face a blur of shadow. She quickly stood up, her hands shaking. She moved closer to the window, trying to catch a glimpse of whatever or whoever was standing there. But the moment she reached the glass, the figure disappeared, leaving only her own reflection staring back at her. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. She hadn't heard anyone enter the house, and the doors were locked. As she stared into the reflection, a thought gnawed at her. Was it really her reflection? Hours passed, and Samantha couldn't shake the unease that had settled in her chest. She tried to brush it off, but it was impossible. Every time she passed that window, she couldn't help but glance at her reflection, half expecting to see that shadowy figure standing behind her again. Later that night, after crawling into bed, Samantha finally began to drift off to sleep. But as she closed her eyes, she heard the faintest sound, a soft, almost imperceptible tapping at the window. Her eyes snapped open, and she immediately sat up, her heart pounding. There, in the dark, was the reflection of a pale face in the window, a face with hollow eyes staring directly at her. Samantha froze in terror, her own breath caught in her throat as she slowly turned toward the window. But the room was empty. Then, in a voice that wasn't hers, she heard a whisper from behind her. "You shouldn't have moved in.